Hollywood doesn't change their tune and get back to that old recipe that made them what they are, then they could definitely be dead going further into the 21st century. It's real. You think of people's views on celebrities have changed. Remember what happened in 2020 with that whole Imagine video chain that was sent off by Gal Gadot and what that did. And, you look at all the social justice that has been put in almost every single movie, those underlying themes. You look at the quota, the checklist of all the different groups that have to be represented in the movie. So it's no longer about the story of the film. It's no longer about that. It's about checking off that list of all these groups and making sure that they're represented rather than just telling a good story. This is what Hollywood was before 2000, Yeah, cancel culture. You think about that as well. You can't do certain films. You also look at this destruction of all of the older movies that came out. They're basically rebooting, remaking all of the old stuff because they know a lot of the big classic movies that were successful in the 80s, the 70s, and the 90s, of course, will bring success now. But they're taking all of the ideas of today and putting it in these reboots, right? Because, of course, everything before 2000 was toxic, according to some people. No, man. No. It's okay to be inspired by the old, but you don't have to do it all over again and put the ideas of today in it. That's not storytelling. You're just, Hollywood could be dead, folks. And then not only that, you look at the rise of tech. You look at social media. A person in social media could become just as successful as someone in Hollywood right now. YouTube, the rise of that, how YouTube could literally obliterate network television in a few years. You look at the upcoming metaverse and what that can do. So now it's no longer about going to see a character in a film. It's about you being the character and experiencing the story yourself. So that totally changes the ball game because, of course, as movies, as we understand it, you pay the money, you go and you have an experience for 2 hours through the eyes of the characters, right? You live through these characters, but now with you becoming the character with the looming metaverse, it changes the movie experience entirely, doesn't it? Sorry, I'm like stumbling over my words because I have so much that I want to tell you. But yeah, Hollywood being dead. Things change every 100 years, though, because 100 years ago, the actor became the celebrity that we know. 100 years. 1922, the very first red carpet movie premiere. I talked about this in the other episode of T.O.T. So things do shift every 100 years. And in comes technology, the internet, and boom, there you go. Case closed. So I don't know. And there's a reason why they reboot all of these old classics from the 70s, from the 80s. The 80s was a great decade for movies. A lot of good movies came out in the 80s, and they were very successful. So, of course, you redo all of that stuff, put in your social justice agenda in it, and hope to make bank at the box office. It is what it is, but that's what they're doing. They're just redoing everything. You might as well remake every single thing that has ever come out. If that's the case, just do. It seems like that's what they're doing, though. Redoing, adding sequels coming out 30 years after the original. I mean, in some cases that works. In some cases that does work, but not when it's done this excessively. You know what I mean? Because there were remakes before 2000. Oh yeah, absolutely. But not this excessive. I don't get it. And then you look at everything masculine being destroyed, right? Everything masculine being destroyed. So here I am, this actor who has some pretty interesting concepts. Those concepts can't even get made because they're trying to destroy everything related to masculinity. Masculinity is wrong. Everything about it is wrong. They're veering away from that. So much to the point to where they're taking the old masculine characters and making them more feminine. So you take all those 80s action movies and redo them, right? And take out all the brawn that made those 80s action films what they were. I don't know. Is Hollywood dead? What do you think? How often do you go to the movies? Do you still go to the movies? Is that still the go-to activity? Because once upon a time, going to the movies was the go-to activity. Once upon a time, you went to the movies and you got a live show before the movie. That's how it began. You got a live show before the movie, the prologues. Of course, eventually that became cartoons, and then that became the previews, the evolution of the movie. And then you had the onslaught of the drive-in theater, right, in the 50s and 60s. So the movie experience has evolved over the years, but I think it's definitely on its way out. I don't think Hollywood will be the gatekeepers anymore. You know, you have the rise of the independent creator, you have the rise of the social media influencer. You know, like I mentioned in that other episode of T.O.T, check it out. Are movies real? I think I went in depth in terms of the impact of the power of image and that sort of thing. Check out that episode. But in terms of how I feel about it, because I'm an actor, for those of you that don't know, maybe you're new to my channel, I come from the acting world. That's what I'm an artist, you know, whether it be poetry, acting, photography, all of those things, music. So I have a very diverse portfolio in the terms of being an artist. And, you know, we had this incident with Will Smith and Chris Rock. See, that's another thing too, man, because I'm coming at it from the angle of sabotage, career sabotage. That's the angle that I'm looking at it from. Okay. And this is what Hollywood does. Does Hollywood elevate people or destroy people? It raises that question. And so me being an actor sort of outside looking in, I'm saying, okay, is that an industry that I really want to be a part of, especially with what they've been doing? And it raises that question. Do I want to be a part of that? Of course, it doesn't matter to them because they're still going to do what they're going to do. But I started having these thoughts in 2013. And eventually I got to a point to where I was like, okay, I'll give this push 4 more years because I started to have momentum. I was working with a guy named Armond. Shout out to you. Excellent director. And he was doing some independent projects. Again, independent stuff. And it's sort of, I guess I got that spark back. And so I said, okay, I've got momentum here. I got nominated as an actor for the first time. Was a part of a project that got 14 nominations. And 2018, I said, okay, I'll give this a solid push for 4 years. 19, 20, 21, 22. Uh-oh, here we go. This is year 4, my senior year of that decision. So I have a lot to kind of clear up in my mind. Do I want to continue to pursue this acting thing? Is Hollywood the direction? Or am I to shift to something else? Because, you know, you look at people who pursue it for very long and you're like, well, why haven't you switched? You're in your 40s. Why haven't you switched? You're not realistic. But then you think about guys like Morgan Freeman, who by the time his career blew up, he was 50 years old. You look at Ridley Scott, by the time his career took off, he was right about his early to mid 40s. So it does happen late for some. But okay, I look at the social climate and the projects and everything that's been happening lately. See, so it's not just about pursuing something in your latter years. It's about the climate. It's about the landscape of what's going on. So I'm accounting for all of those things. And I don't know. Check out LA Mayhem. That's a script that I was working on about cops in Los Angeles. It's not, well, there's a lot more to it than that. But check out that trailer. I'll put it in the end screen. Let me know if that's something that you want to see. I'm curious. Put some comments on that video. Let me know if that's something you want to see, because that was right before 2020 hit. I had momentum pushing in that direction with that story, and things kind of shifted. But I don't know, man. Is Hollywood dead? Do you think it's dead? I don't know. What do you think? You know, are you still crazy about these actors and celebrities the way that you used to be? You know, a lot has changed. A lot is changing, and the movie experience is changing. And I don't know, man. And then you have career sabotage, and these people in the movie industry don't always end up in great mental situations. There's a pattern with that. We've seen it. We've seen it. So then you raise the question, okay, well, is that really something to be a part of? You want to create as an artist. Hollywood are the gatekeepers of major motion pictures. So it's like, or at least they have been up to this point. That's what I'm saying. Like things may shift entirely to the point to where they're no longer running it. They're not running it, you know? So it's got me thinking a lot. I have a decision to make for 2022. I'm here on YouTube, doing my thing and sharing with you my skills. And I mean, at one point I thought I was going to be the next Denzel Washington, but I can only be me. So, but I don't know. Give me your thoughts in the comments. Check out my stuff. I do have a lot to offer. Maybe Hollywood is not ready for somebody like me. And maybe I should consider just something else.